So now let's look at aggregate functions. So basically aggregate functions are often used with the group by clause and having clauses of the select statement. So let's first take a look of the data which we have in car model 2. So these are the rows. Now let's look at the count function. So that's one of the aggregate functions. So this essentially gives us the number of rows. So we have 48 rows. Now let's check the count of IDs. So that's essentially same 48. So if you put distinct before count, now let's see what happens. Actually, it's going to give us an error. So in order to count the distinct ID, you have to put the distinct keyword in front of the ID in the braces. So as you can see, distinct 48 rows have been retrieved in this case. Now let's explore another features. So by this you can get the distinct model. So all the distinct models have been retrieved. So now let's see if I want to check the count. So there's this another method as well, from which you can actually get the number of distinct models. So that's the 48. Now let's explore another aggregate functions. So now let's say if we want to get the let's say maximum. So let's choose a column, maybe a numerical one, or we can get it on the date one as well. Let's choose a maximum score, so which is 63. Now let's try to figure out what's the minimum. So minimum is 10. So that's how you can get an idea and explore your data set and try to find the maximum or the minimum from a column. Now let's use the average one just for the demonstration purpose. So we are going to implement that on the same column. So what's the average score? That's the 39.5. So that's essentially gives you an idea how your data is actually spread or distributed. Okay, now let's try to explore max and min functions on the date column as well. So let's see the maximum date. So that's the maximum date. That's in the year 2052. Now let's see what's the minimum date. So that's how you can actually get the minimum date from the table. Okay, coming back to the data set. So now let's see what's the sum of the scores. So it will add up all the scores and will give us the sum. So that's the sum 1896. Now let's explore the distinct rank. So these are the distinct ranks that we have. So it's from 1 to 10 that we have taken in a column. We can count the distinct ranks in a table. So that's the 10. So that's all about the aggregate functions.